We have reached the part of the podcast where we're going to talk XFL Week 2. Take a look back at Week 1, and who better to come on than the man, the myth, the legend, XFL Jim. Jim, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great. I've been on cloud nine for the last week, Eric. It's been nothing but roses and daisies in the garage.
Now, you've been looking forward to this league more than anyone I know. I need to ask you, what was your biggest takeaway from Week 1?
I kind of want some lemonade. That was my biggest takeaway. The level of play was higher than I expected for week 1
Okay.
overall.
Now, go ahead. Sorry.
Like, obviously, offensive line and quarterback, those need the most improvement of any position. But I thought, just in general, the level of play was fine. It was good. It was fun.
What was one thing you wish was better?
Non-football related, I wish they brought back seltzer celebrations for the winning team. That was one of maybe my absolute favorite thing that the XFL did in 2020. I understand they're not a sponsor, but you got to make something work out there. Something that on the field that I would like to see improved. Officiating maybe still a little bit. I love the transparency, but there was a couple moments where the officials were a little bit confused. The most glaring example being the Battlehawks Brahmas game, where they slotted the ball on the wrong hash mark to start the game, and AJ McCarron had to yell out at the refs, be like, "Hey, that's the college hash mark. Don't put the ball there." So a little improvement with there would be nice.
Now, you and I previewed every single team. Who was the player that stood out the most to you?
The one player that stood out to me the most, Balaj was a good standout. I think he stood out a lot. Jack Cohn, I would say, stood out just because I expected him to look not nearly as good as he did. Most of the running backs who stood out just because I liked how angrily they seemed to run and with how much force they seemed to run. The run games, that's another thing that needs improvement for most teams. The run games weren't great for a lot of the teams. And in a bad way, Paxton Lynch stood out. If Paxton Lynch listens to anything I do or follows me, I'm sorry you're taking so many shots. You're this year's version of Matt McGloyd, where I fire off shots left and right at you. I'm expecting a block from Paxton Lynch sometime.
Respect. What was the player you disappointed in the most?
Disappointed? Probably McCarron. For most of that game, he didn't look great.
Yeah.
I get that the offensive line wasn't doing him any favors. But a lot of people came in with a lot of high hopes. It was either him or I love the guy. Spring football, Mount Rushmore. But Luis Perez, he had that opening drive of amazingness and that great first quarter. He kind of stunk it up for a good chunk of that game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Agree.
That second half was not good by him.
Now, we're going to shift our attention to week 2. The time the podcast comes out is going to be after the Sea Dragons and Battlehawks game. So we're not going to touch on that game. We're going to
I will say the crowd in Seattle was amazing. I'm just going to say that off the bat.
Crowd was off the bat. Jim and I hit our bets. I had -2.5. Jim, what'd you have the Sea Dragons at?
Also -2.5.
Yeah, so starting off the week well with the Sea Dragons -2.5. Hopefully,
and winner. Under 37.5. I took the under 37.5.
We're gonna start with the DC Defenders. We're gonna be using the lines. We're just gonna be using the book Bet Online. We're just gonna be using those. We're gonna start off. We see the DC Defenders getting 3 over under of 36. I locked this in when the Vipers were -2.5. I would still play this at 3, to be honest with you. What are your thoughts about the Vipers Defenders?
It's looking like it's moving to 3.5 sometime soon too.
It is definitely going to move to 3.5. You're actually going to be in attendance. And I'll say this right now. If someone watching this or listening to this sees Jim at the game and you go up and you tell Jim, hi, I will Venmo Jim money to buy you a Miller Lite. Only a Miller Lite, though.
Oh, I'll buy you a Miller Lite. Preface this, I will be zonked out of my mind, probably.
Really? What's the over under on beers you're going to get before you go in the stadium?
Beers or just drinks in general?
Drinks in general.
6.5, 7.
Oh, I'll take the juiced over 9.5.
How many puffs on the weed vape is the better over under?
On the weed vape.
How many
Um,
how many weed espresso beans?
I'd say that's going to be heavy to the over, my friend.
Very
Um,
heavy. I'm gonna also I'll give you a smooch. That's my other takeaway from that.
who you liking here? Defenders, Vipers? Where's your head at?
I thought both teams looked pretty good for the most part in week 1. Defenders came in with the W. I'm probably gonna sit on this and wait for the 3.5 because I like the Defenders to cover. I think they keep it close. I think the Vipers walk away with the win, but I think 3.5 is too much for this Vipers team. And I'm gonna get a little cheeky here. I'm gonna take the over 36 in this matchup too.
Look at you. Look
I'm gonna
at
take the
you.
over.
I want to see the Defenders on the road. I mean that home field was tremendous. They have. I want to see how they look on the road here. Next game. Now this is getting to the point where I told you when we did Spring Fever on Wednesday that I didn't want to get involved in these games. But looking at these bet online numbers, they're getting to the part where I may want to get involved in these next games. We got San
This is an
Antonio
insane
traveling
number.
to Orlando. Orlando's getting 4,
That's crazy.
and the over under is 38. Eric Betting's 101 is after a team gets blown out, you take them the next game. Am I going to be betting the Orlando Guardians in this game?
You might want to wait till the day of because if this continues, you might see a 5.
Oh my God. If I see a 5, and you have to remember with the 3-point, you being able to go for 3, you can see a team dwindle away a lead like that.
Yeah, can we I gotta feel like I gotta talk to a smart math person here. Maybe you're the guy. The XFL definitely has different key numbers than the NFL, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like
For sure.
6. I don't know what the key numbers in the XFL are. I know 9 points is a 1-score game, but that's it.
Yeah.
Math
I'm
people.
gonna need a 3-week sample size. That's
Yeah, math people hit us up, figure out what the key numbers are. I'm sitting right now. I have the Brahmas -2.5.
So you beat the number.
Yeah, I have the Brahma sitting at -2.5. I might dabble here and take the +4 on the Guardians and middle this bitch.
I'm very tempted to take the +4, and I'm not gonna lie. You brought up a good point. Who's to say we're not going to see this dip all the way up to a 5?
Like
I
we see
really
this
feel
all the
like-
time with these spring leagues. The overreaction to week 1, the Guardians looked awful, and you'll see it the next game too. The two teams that played in that game have the most inflated lines in one direction or the other.
I think the Guardians are going to have some value. Fuck, man. I'm going to be on the
No Paxton
Guardians.
Lynch too is a big plus.
If Paxton Lynch isn't playing, I'm going to be locked in for sure.
At the very least, I'm pretty sure he's not starting. They haven't released the depth charts yet, but I don't know.
Now,
Under 38, by the way. Under 38 as well.
Under 38. Renegades, Roughnecks, last one. This line is sitting at the Roughnecks -5, over under 40. It's looking like we're going to see a 5.5 in the market.
Again, I don't want to tout. I'm sitting on Roughnecks -3.5. So I feel like this is another perfect middle opportunity for me to take the Renegades +5 or +5.5 and like get a good spot.
I mean, like, you're a son of a bitch, dude. Like you're completely in the driver's seat.
I'm feeling good. I think the only line that I didn't beat the number on is the Defenders.
Now, what or do you think we could see a 6?
I mean, potentially the worry would be if you see it go to 5.5 and then it drops back down. But there's a very real chance you could see it go to 6. The narrative continuing into Sunday, it's the last game. The narrative is just going to continue to be the Roughnecks were dominant. They owned the Guardians. The Renegades, they didn't score a single offensive touchdown. Who knows what this offense is capable of? I don't know. They didn't look great. Drew Plitt looked mediocre, maybe. The narratives could shift this number.
To me, betting is all about buying low, selling high. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to buy low on the Renegades, sell on the Roughnecks, dude. I mean, I think that's what you have to do here. No?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. I like it. The total's at 40. I liked it. I like the under at 39. Of course, I like it at 40. Give me the under.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, Eric, do you believe in double dipping? So I already took the under at 39. Would you double dip and take it at 40?
Yeah, if you have a strong opinion, for sure.
Okay. It just depends on how strongly your opinion is held.
So here's the thing. There's been cases where I'm trying to think of a game where I took a team and I read the line wrong, and the line went the opposite way, and I got more value. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. So hypothetically, let's say I have a huge. Okay, so let's say in this Vipers game. Okay, so let's say I locked the Vipers in at 2.5. Okay, and then money came in on DC and went down to 1.5. I still like the Vipers. I would reinvest and bet again. I'd hit send again.
Okay.
Because I trust my intel enough. I mean, but that's just me. I'm the cockiest son of a bitch in the world.
For me, I kind of like flip a coin with it. There's plenty of times where I just eat the bad number and just take it and be like, you know what? I was wrong. I didn't beat the number this time. It happens. And there's other times where I'm just like, well, I liked it here. I like it there. Give it to me, baby. Give me more. Double down.
Yeah. I mean, shoot or shoot, man. Shoot or shoot. Like, dude, like if you like a number, you go for it. You ask me all the time, you call me crazy for not listening to sports with the sound on. I do that because I don't want guys watching the game to distort my opinion of what I see going on. That's just
I get it. Maybe I'm a weirdo. I don't really have announcers influence me, but that's kind of why. Like, I love other spring football and XFL and USFL like podcasters and content people out there. I don't watch a lot of other people's content for that reason. I don't want opinions rubbed off on me.
I feel like listening to a podcast. So I want to be able to watch something, make my decision, get my thoughts. And then, like, dude, I listen to your recaps because I want to see what your opinion is. And maybe you bring up a scenario where you'll be like, okay, in this scenario, this is what I thought happened. And they'll be like, oh, I never thought of it like that. And then I'll rewatch it, whatever situation you're talking about. I think podcasts and breakdowns are great. I think there's a time to listen to them. I listen to some of them. But I'm talking about more, you know what I mean?
You think like the commentators can like color your perception of the game?
Exactly, and that's what I don't want to happen. Like after I watch the game and get my opinion of the game, I want to hear what other people have because maybe you saw something I didn't, but I don't want it to be in the heat of the moment where I have someone else's thought creep in my head. Does that make
God
sense?
damn it, that's genius, Eric.
Does that make sense, or am I?
It makes sense. You're still a freak, but it makes sense.
I mean,
I get why you do it.
That's just what I do. So, but like I said, I'm like you said, I'm a fucking weird fuck, dude.
Look who you're talking to.
I'm a weird dude. I mean, but
look at who you're talking to.
Then again, I'm gonna have to tell you the story off the air. I was in the gas station and someone tried to rob it with a butter knife last night. So that was an experience. But we're not here to tell stories about me and butter knives and robberies. Jim, I'd like to thank you for coming on. You're going to be in Las Vegas. Guys, if you see Jim in Las Vegas, go up, say what up to him. He'll give you a kiss in the Miller Lite. Jim, why
Yeah,
don't you tell the people where they can find you, my man?
those are facts. You can find me in Vegas, just like Eric said, but you can also find me on Twitter at XFL Jim. You can find me everywhere at XFL Jim. I do Spring Fever with this guy live every Wednesday. The audio version drops out later, and also I do my own little flair of like XFL previews, XFL recaps of the weeks, and then we got USFL coming up. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of gyms involved.
You know what, dude? I appreciate you. I've gotten to know you a lot over the last year and a half. Appreciate you coming on. Make sure you give my boy Jimbo a follow. Best of luck if you tail our bets, and we'll talk next week, my friend.
See ya.